Hey, yo, man, what time is it?
You know what time it is, man.
2 a.m.?
Yeah, man.
Man, you know what?
What's that?
It's 8:46, bro.
Wow, that's G.
Yeah, you know what time that is.
Yeah, man.
Nappy head,
Yo,
Funk Army.
what's up?
Stand up. Get it live, y'all.
Yo, Mo, drop that beat.
You know what we gotta do.
Yeah, man.
We bringing this funk just for you.
You know,
Repeat after me. Say, you don't have to be the best. Just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best.
you don't.
Just gotta outlast the rest.
No, you
You
don't.
don't have to be the best. Just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best. Just gotta outlast the rest. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. I'ma say that again for you. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Here we go, y'all. Now let me tell you a little story about United We Stand. It says we're gonna funk across this funkless land. We gon' stand up and let our voices be heard. We ain't gonna let nobody stop us from spreading the spiritual word. The ruthless corporate greedy don't give a damn about the needy. We need everybody in the house to join us on this one, all right? Y'all say, united we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Are y'all out there? You feeling me? United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. United we stand, divided we fall. Funkin' with the poor people most of all, as they poison our minds with food control. Third eye is wise, sacrifice. Wake up and see what they doing to you and me. Keeping a separate product of Illuminati, like the jail cell did my boss John Gotti. Dirty politics and high-priced prostitution reside in all the important positions. Just look around at the injustice in the world. Some forced to live in a deplorable conditions. Watch us, watch what we do. This rap is coming up just for you. So sit back, relax, check out our phone calls. The Nappy Hip Hop Army always bumping in your drum. Twitter, tweet, TikTok. The ruthless corporate greedies don't give a damn about the needies. A movement, genocide and homicide is happening all around the world. Promise me this, promise me that, when all the fat cats stabbing us in the back. Man, get off my back, bro. Killing me. Let me see you wave your hand. We all wanna take a stand. Rise up against the corporate man. Let me head all across this land. Oh yeah. Nothing but this new type funk 2022. Let me see you wave your hands. We all wanna take the stand. against the wall. We'll be together until the champ is done. United we stand, divided we fall.
The Bible teaches that when lions and lambs lie down together, none will be afraid, and there will be peace in the valley. It sounds impossible. Lions eat lambs. Lambs sensibly flee from lions. Yet even lions and lambs find common ground. Why? Because neither lion nor lambs want the forest to catch on fire. Neither lions nor lambs want acid rain to fall. Neither lions nor lambs can survive nuclear war. If lions and lambs can find common ground, surely we can as well as civilized people. The only time that we win is when we come together. In 1960, John Kennedy, the late John Kennedy, beat Richard Nixon by only 112,000 votes. Less than one vote per precinct. We won by the margin of our hope. He brought us together. He reached out. He had the courage to defy his advisors and inquire about Dr. King's jailing in Albany, Georgia. We won by the margin of our hope, inspired by courageous leadership. In 1964, Lyndon Johnson brought both wings together. The thesis, the antithesis, and the creative synthesis, and together we won. In 1976, Jimmy Carter unified us again, and we won. When we do not come together, we never win. In 1968, division and despair in July led to our defeat in November. In 1980, rancor in the spring and the summer led to Reagan in the fall. When we divide, we cannot win. We must find common ground as a basis for survival and development and change and growth.
What's up? What's up? What's up? All my true funk soldiers, funky kids around the world. Funk from the front seat right here at 9 on the Grind TV. Obviously, it's Black History Month, and we want to try to touch on a few people. I was going to do something completely different today, and thank you for tuning in. I was going to do something completely different today, but then when Jesse died, I was like, well, you know, a lot of controversy swirled around him back in the day and even, you know, in his later years. And I just think that, you know, I need to just kind of like check it out a little bit and dive into it with my producer, Mark, and all of you out there. Funk from the front seat right here every Saturday, 9 on the Grind TV. You know, and you can smash that like button and give us those thumbs up so we can get all this stuff around the world as we always do. I got a couple of comments already coming in, so that'd be kind of cool. And thank you all for tuning in. David Brooks, Dr. B, what's up? Giving some shout outs to a few people. My dog Wayne Woodford over here in North Carolina, you know, feel better, bro. You know, I just hit you up and we were just chatting as we doing this live, we chatting. And, you know, I hope you feel better, man. Cindy K. Lane, of course, my funk sister out there, and, you know, Lisa Love out there in the West Coast, and all my peeps, George DeFunca Vinci down in Texas, Brooks up in Philly, you know, Kevin Harrington up in Philly, you know, we got people all around the world to check us out. And thank you, Monica from Sweden, for, you know, hooking us up with the music thing and playing our music over there for the Nappy Head Funk Army. Lots going on. We're going to kind of bounce around a little bit today, but we're going to definitely start, you know, with the passing of one of the most important Black figures in my teenagehood growing up. But before I do, I just want to say, you know, we're going to light some incense and burn some sage for our ancestors that are no longer with us physically, but always with us through DNA, and things like that, and metaphysical and metaphorical and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to get this light right so it doesn't shine right in my eyes. Sorry. Sometimes it does what it does, but it's cool. We'll work with it. I can't really tell because my studio screen is smaller. And anyway, if you have a birthday or happy birthday, if you believe in that kind of thing, and we want you to celebrate all your transitions around this planet every year cycle, whatever that may be. Many theories on that now. And if you had anybody that transitioned out, this sage is for them. We want to make sure we keep our ancestors with us at all times. Because if I didn't have ancestors, there'd be no Nappy Head Funk Army. Let me tell you that. Man, in about 3 or 4 months, have I got a story for you guys out there concerning some things, family things, and all good stuff. But man, oh man, oh man, when I drop this on you guys, it's gonna be deep. So give me a couple of months to get it right. But yeah, I got something really important that I'm going to announce on the show at some point concerning some lost family members that I found, and I'll just leave it at that. So today, my producer is doing something at Haytide because it's Black History Month, and that's a very important cultural center right here in Durham, North Carolina. And before I go any further, yes, we will be performing at Hub RTP starting in March. Every Wednesday for you daytime people from 11 o'clock to 3:30, we're going to be there. We're going to be popping it. Thank you, Dr. B. I'll get to that comment in a second. But every Wednesday, through Sonic Pie Productions, we're going to be down there, and we're going to be popping. Also, shout out to my guy, Diego. I love you. You and your family. I know you're going through stuff with your dad, and believe me, my heart is heavy for you, and you keep us posted on that because you got all our prayers and thoughts. And anybody out there that's dealing with something, seems like a lot of people are going through personal struggles and trying to get through it. But know that we're all here for each other. That's why Open with United We Stand. That's always going to be my anthem. United we stand. Divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll always be together because all we got is each other. We cannot depend on anybody else to come in and say, hey, did he put your $1 million check in someone else's box? That ain't going to happen. So we need each other. We need each other now more than ever. And don't you think we ain't going to hit the SCOTUS kind of thing and the Supreme Court and how, boom, and thanks to my my reporter out there, Jen Vanderputten, I love you. Thank you for always keeping it real. And, she's our Nappy Head Funk Army, Funk from the Front Street reporter out there in the world, keeping us real, keeping it funky, and making sure that I get all the important stuff as I need it to tell to you guys. And sometimes it's important to have other people on the team. Like I said, you need each other. So she's a huge part of Funk from the Front Seat, and keeping it real on the street out there and on the grind and all live out there for me. So I really appreciate that, Jen. God bless you, and your family. I haven't seen your mom in a long time, so I hope to see her soon. I miss your mom. Miss talking to your mom. But anyway, I digress. My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, always funky, always fast, always the best behind the glass. I appreciate you back there, bro. Everything that you do, these flowers are for you. And before I go any further, first of all, we just got to stay locked in and make sure, because here's the thing. Y'all know how this goes. In the summer, I got to make myself bigger so I can actually see my facial expressions. And I'll get to your comment, Dr. Brooks. That's right. I am somebody. For sure, Jesse did that. But check this out. So this summer, as we go about our daily summertime, springtime, summertime, fall time kind of things that we do, just keep in mind, just because you're different, just because someone else is different, just because, you don't agree with them, just because they don't agree with you, does not mean violence has to break out over simple conversations. And what are conversations? Conversations are words. And what are words? Words are just letters. And what are letters? Letters are part of spelling. So when we go back and forth like that, all we doing is what the upper echelon wants us to do. And I ain't even talking about the 1%. I'm talking about the puppeteers that control the 1%, and the 1% controls the 98%. If we do that and we constantly spell on each other, we're going to constantly be button heads. And that's the secret to breaking away from the matrix. Trust me, I know. I'm not in it. I know. You know, I have problems with my life like everyone else, but being a hybrid and not from here. And, you know, I know. I can see my third eye is so wide open right now. That's why I'm able to give you this information. And please, 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 please remember what I said. You're going to come across people that you may not like. They may not like you, but words will cause, boom, that explosion. So imagine if somebody's calling me a nigger or calling me chocolate or chocolate like they do in New York, or eggplant or whatever, right? When I used to go in Italian stores or whatever, hey, chocolate, hey, eggplant, whatever. Imagine if I would have been angry and fought every single time somebody called me that. But in my mind, I'm like, they're words. An eggplant, yeah, I'm dark skinned, whatever. You want to call me that? You want to refer to me as that? That's fine, right? Don't let spelling spell you, cast spells on you to be angry, to fight. Buddhist teaches that. Do not do that. Use the language that we must say, as in grand rising, as opposed to good morning. Just an example. There's nothing good about a morning because you're mourning something. So that's not good, right? But as opposed to words that counteract what you really want to say, just think and use less words that are more powerful to get your message out. And trust me, I've been doing this now for a minute. It will help you. And I'm not perfect. Don't follow me. Trust me. I'm not perfect. I'm just telling you what the creator is giving me the vision to tell you. That's why I believe this show is going on. It's 6th year. We started in COVID. Still can't believe it. Still doing it. So whatever. It is what it is. And for those of you out there that watch constantly, get your 6th year anniversary shouts out to me as soon as you can, because in May, of course, that's always our month, anniversary month, and we do shout outs. All right. Now, getting back to this spelling thing, there's a lot of, before we get to Jesse, and God bless him, there's a lot of theories, okay? And the theory is basically, you know, somebody's idea, they thought about it, they analyzed it, they wrote about it, they may have even done a paper on it, video, whatever, and they put it out as a theory. It's just a thought. It's a theory. You're theorizing that, hey, this could be, right? This is probably Occam's razor. The most simplest answer is probably the most correct. So when you look and theorize where we are right now, basically at ripping each other's throats apart over something that we feel is being done to us and is being done to us in the physical and the mental and the social economic and the realm of how do we break out of the matrix? And the answer is simple. I'm not religious, y'all know that, but I believe the kingdom of heaven lives within. That's the spirit that was put inside of us. So that's where we got to look. If you keep looking up for the answers, thinking that you're going to go down, doesn't work that way, yo. I'm trying to tell you something, man. Pay attention. You can afford free speech. It's like the kingdom of heaven lives within. So whatever your environment is, you have the perception to either understand it, not be a part of it, or be a part of it if it's a positive thing that you can be a part of, and that can help you, which in turn you can then help others. And I'll give you a perfect example. The music that we all do in this funk thing, all Tony Cam and the All-Stars of Funk, the Nappy Head Funk Army, the Clones of Funk. That stuff only works because we all play with each other. You feel me? We all play for each other and with each other. It's never about ego. It's never about who's doing what on stage. You could have one part. Just do your one part. And that part becomes the sum of the whole. So when you're thinking in life like that, let's just think in terms of people have helped me from the West Coast. People have helped me from the East Coast, helped me survive. I've been through surgeries. I've had to ask for financial help. Those people that have helped me in a way that I was then able to help others, because if I wasn't healthy, I couldn't go out and do what I do. So those people, I love them dearly. I step in front of cars and bullets for them if need be, right? If they ever call me. And the thing is, that's the power of love. Okay. So when you take the power of love and then you understand that word, LOVE, love, just as plain and simple, right? That word is powerful. It is, according to Anunnaki Sumerian, according to every alien and ET that I have channeled. That is the one word that the universe is totally about, and at the same time totally afraid of, the yin and the yang, because love conquers everything. Everything. The man called Jesus, and there were many, but he was one, died for love. You know, he was sacrificed. And I'm not really one to believe like all the 3 parts and all this and that. I get all that. I ain't mad at those that do. I love you. Like I said, I love you. But that ain't me. I've read other books. And that love thing is one of the most powerful things that any religious context talks about. In there somewhere, whether it's the Judeo-Christian Bible, whether it's the Episcopal, the Catholic, whether it's the Muslims, whether it's the Quran, whether it's the Mahabharata from India, whether it's any Chinese text, whether it's Buddhist text, African text, the Dogon tribe, going all the way back, all of those things talk about other entities bringing choices. And if you choose, and you choose correctly, most of the time you were choosing love, because you have to unconditionally, or not you personally, we as inhabitants of this planet, remember, we are celestial spiritual beings in a physical body. That's why this body is so frail. But it's been proven scientifically, and thank you. See, you know I'm rocking a hat today. It has been proven scientifically that the spirit lives on. There were mass reports when Muhammad Ali died, as his body lay in state, he was glowing a brown bronze color. Look it up. He was glowing. He was still technically spiritually bound, I guess you could say. He literally glowed. He didn't just die and boom, like you see on TV. That spirit was glowing. Again, powerful, because Muhammad Ali said, I will not go and kill people that never done anything to me. That was coming from a place of love. It was packaged as, yes, it's the rights. Yes, we're fighting civil rights. Yes, we're going to protest the war, this and that, and the third. All of that very well may be true. But it was packaged in a simple word. Muhammad Ali said, not going to do it. So that's love right there. He didn't know Vietnam from Adam. He had never even flown on an airplane. But he said, that don't make no sense. How is that about love? How? And this is the problem I have, and let me get to Jesse. It's not a problem, but it's something that I have been able to solve over the years, because obviously this life is like a puzzle, you know, kind of like my artwork back here from George DeFunk, Da Vinci, Curtis, and Patricia Diori. It's like a puzzle. And when you look at it like that, so many things that they taught us, our generation and generations before that, in the educational system was completely devoid of any common sense and was placed in our brains to program us so that we can't function. So what I advise you to do is what George Clinton said: program, reprogram, deprogram. Go back to your elementary classes and just think about it for a second. And I'm not saying you have to agree or disagree. That's why I put the disclaimer up. But check it out. How are you going to tell somebody Native Americans don't count and Christopher Columbus discovered America where there were people here? What kind of lie is that to tell kids and make it a national thing? Like, nah, this is it. This is the book. We all had that same book. Everybody, I don't care what state you lived in, you had that social studies book. You had it because that was the only book they was giving out. And you had the Britannica, the encyclopedia from A to Z. You can look in there and find stuff up. We all had the same thing because there wasn't that many. So how are you going to tell people, like, hey, I'm going to use my phone for the example. This is the Bible. This Bible is the one I follow. Not me personally, but I'm telling the story. They told people this. This is the Bible you got to follow because I follow it. And in this very same Bible, we're going to talk about being a master and a slave. Now, you're not from here. We've captured you. You've been here, but the books lied about that too. But we're going to turn you into something. You're going to breed human beings. You're going to pick cotton. You're going to be sexually assaulted, physically assaulted. You're going to be killed, hung, bum, bam, 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 the whole bit. All that's going to happen to you. But yet, I want you to follow me and this book. Now tell me, in a common sense way, and I'm not knocking the Bible because my dad was a minister, but these were questions I used to ask. And I'm not saying everything in the Bible is wrong or right. That's not the debate. What I'm saying is there are certain parts in there that were thrown in there to confuse us. I believe in the prophets. I know the stuff in there is very, very accurate at some points. I believe in certain things that they talked about, but it's also like the game of telephone. Whereas if I tell you something, you're going to tell the story different. And there's no way that, yes, there were many people before Jesus that were trying to get the earth right. You just have to look it up. You have to look for yourselves. You can't say, bang, we wiped out, in the Old Testament, and we came back in the New Testament, and it was a completely different person. I'm not really understanding how that makes sense for us today, right? One of the stories I told my dad, I was like, well, Dad, if Noah had the ark and he had all the animals, I said, and that was like basically in Africa, how did he get polar bears, seals? How did he get whales from Africa? I was always interested in the Arctic. I was like, how did that happen? And he said, son, he looked me in the eye and he said, I'm a minister. Yes, I preach the word of God, which the kingdom of heaven lives within. He always told me that. Funkadelic said that. Everybody said that. Jimi Hendrix said that. Earth, Wind & Fire said that. All the prophets and music, Bob Marley, all said inside is where heaven is at. It's okay to pray. It's okay to help people and pray and all of that. But inside is where the spirit lives. Doesn't live outside our body. So if the spirit itself, which many different scholars talk about, live hot and it's real, but it's not outside our body, it's inside our body, which is why Muhammad Ali was glowing. Now, every time somebody went to step up to hit people to how to tap into that hidden spirit, using their third eye, using biblical scriptures, using whatever means, because there's many ways to get there, just like there's many highways. There's many ways to get there. The universe is full. There's no way one way is going to just be the way. There's many ways to get there. They either executed them, snipped them, made them look bad, they cut them off, they dismembered them, they got rid of them, they rewritten all of their stuff, they didn't put it in certain books. So that's what I'm talking about. Understand the game. They've been playing the long game since the get-go. And I'm not saying there's not evil, because we're living through evil times right now. In Revelations, it speaks of the last days and time. See, I know I study, so I'm not just knocking the Bible. I've seen the words. I've seen how cryptocurrency is basically a form of controlling where you can spend your money, how you can spend your money, and what state or town you can spend your money. Y'all pay attention to that. It's the mark of the beast. It even says that, right? So, and remember, the opinions on this show are just ours. They are not the opinions of StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. None of those people are responsible for my opinion, right? They have nothing to do with it. So don't go out and sue them because you're mad at me. Just come straight at me, and I'll tell you straight up, you ain't getting nothing. So when we look back and we understand the history, right, of all of these things I'm talking about, and it comes down to that one word, love, right? Love. Would you sacrifice somebody because you hate them? Would you do some of the terrible things that has happened to men, women, children? Would you do those things if you really understood love? You know, there is nothing about being a politician to me that acts and stands on love. Now, there are many that have morality. There are many that I feel want to, but once you get in that seat, they be like, listen, the agenda you had, screw that. Here's the agenda, and you ain't going to see it. We're going to tell you what to do. You can't even look at it. So that's not acting out of love, you know. And acting out of love is something that I feel will heal this planet. When I went and hung out with the Buddhist monks, watching them, listening with Jen and John, it was such a revelation for me, because these men, these brave men in winter storms, people yelling at them, harassing them, things like that, they did what they wanted to do. They knew there was a ripple in the middle of the United States. They knew there was a rift. They knew that there were things going on here that simply could not be fixed overnight. But what they could do and what they did is what that L word is about, love. They just simply said, we're going to walk and we're going to love. And that's all it was about. It was about peace. It was about peace, love, and harmony, which is when we started this show almost 6 years ago. It's for my monks. I feel your spirit. That's what we were about, peace, love, and harmony. Because I used to do a lot of music, and a lot of my music, you know, had curse words in it, and it was just the sign of the times, you know, the Prince stuff, the funkadelic stuff, and all of that. And then, you know, I got into some spiritual music that we did, Revolution. You know, I'll play one of the tracks from that I got loaded up that I wanted to play, called Praise God, produced by Kevin Harrington. Has some great musicians on it that I still work with. And I understood my platform was bigger than I thought it was. Smaller than, say, Prince's or Michael Jackson's or Madonna's or Chaka Khan's. But it was bigger than I thought it was, because what I realized is that people were paying attention to what I was singing and what I was saying on stage. And I used to walk out of the clubs and stuff, and, you know, we all be walking out, whatever, right? And I'm smoking a joint, I'm just chilling and watching people walk out, getting their reactions, and they singing the words to the songs. And I was like, dang, man, you know, that came out of here, you know, and I wrote it down and took it to the group, and then they put their shit on it, and then we spit on it, peed on it, played it, you know, and it's like they singing it. And I watch an interview with Prince. He channels me all the time. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, he'll pop in and tell me stuff, right? And he was saying in one of these interviews that I watched that, you know, when he puts out music, he just puts it out. If they buy it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't. But the main thing is he's understanding most of the time what he was saying. That's why he switched and stopped using a lot of profanity, you know. And I notice now even George Clinton and Bootsy, when he switched and stopped going that way. When my mentors and people that I channel all the time started switching up, I realized, like, yo, I have to switch up too, because there's a change. Can't ever stay stagnant. There's always change coming. You got to be willing to change and adapt, right? And that all comes from love, because the elders know that, hey, some of this music that's out here, it may be taking you out of the hood, but it's actually planting seeds of deceit, anger, distrust, planting seeds in your neighborhood of like, I got to kill you because you're wearing the wrong color rag, or you're in my neighborhood, or you looked at me funny, or you stepped on my shoes, or why are you at my store? How is this stuff about love? How do we get what we're saying on this show? Smash the like button. Please subscribe. Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV. Every single Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. West Coast time. And like Linda Shatter says, somewhere in the middle of 10 o'clock. How do we establish that love is the most important thing we can teach these kids? You know, people give me a lot of things. I'm going to show you this. I don't know if you see it. It's a little heart, and it's a heart, right? You can see it. and it's just love. And all these things that people give me, I cherish, because when somebody sings your song or gives you something that they have, or they understand that, you're doing something out of love, they tend to want to be part of that, right? That's why the Nappy Head Funk Army is a huge family, huge. They tend to want to be part of that. And as we do this podcast and we talk about the same things, everything interlaps, because one thing is the other, because both things are about love. It's like, let's just love each other. I see my producer, Mr. Mark Lee's back there, but I just wanted to open with that soliloquy because it's been on my mind all week. I kind of knew what I was going to say. I kind of wanted to let people know, like, hey, this love thing and this word today is important. So I'm going to bring in some comments right now. Welcome some people to Funk from the Front Seat. Dr. Brookenstein, I love you, man. Appreciate you and all your hard work that you're doing. And he puts up his comment. Rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. I am somebody. That one statement right there was almost like James Brown's "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," right? Because in the 70s, when we had that slogan, and I am somebody, and run, Jesse, run, and we were all like, wow, this is really happening. A black man is really trying to run for the presidency of the United States, praying for the family of that 19-year-old autistic man. Wow. He was found deceased in a brook in Plainfield, New Jersey, after a month-long search for him. We'll send out prayers and burn incense for him for sure. Connor Oldfield. Wow, that's deep, man. Thank you, Bruce, for bringing that to our attention. I didn't really know about that. I've been so busy, What's up, man? Grand Rising, bro. That's what's up. Like Brooks says, ain't nothing good unless you play with it. George Clinton and P-Funk Mob always says that. So, this is what I want to see right here. That's right. They are the lineage of evil. You're absolutely right. And see, we're going to get to that. That's why I wanted to give Jesse his flowers, but we're going to get to that. Because our lineage as founding nations, right? Our lineage of resistance, justice, and supreme love. That's right. That's right. That's what the Bible speaks of. It's all about love. It really is. And that word, I'm going to try to put that word in everything I do, everything I say. It's like, we love you. That's right, Dr. Brooks. That's all you got to say, man. And it's like, what's up, Lisa Love? Hey, sweetie, loving you. Miss you. Gotta get you back on when you're ready. Just let me know. It's all about that love thing, man, because, see, like people chiming in, that's love. It's no agendas, it's no like this, that, and the third. It's just people care about what's going on in the world, man. So, Mark, you ready back there, man? I think the light is funny behind you, so I can see it. It's already blinding me. But I'm gonna get you in because I wanna run one of these Jesse Jackson speeches, another one that we have. And thank you for putting this all back there for me because I was so busy this week. We want to kind of talk about it in a logical way because Jesse was controversial. Now, again, I was a teenager at the time, so my focus wasn't really on the who's, the hows, the wheres. All I know is I kept seeing this black man on television, which was rare, very rare. I think at the time there were only 3 black people on the news. Ed Bradley was one of them, and the other lady that was on Channel 7 was the other, at least on the East Coast. A lot of the other black, people that were in the struggle, in the movement, they were always on shows that were off-brand, like David Susskind show and the Merv Griffin show. They were never getting on mainstream. Black Like Me, there used to be a show called Black Like Me, and, used to be run by a guy named Gil Noble on Channel 7, and he wrote a book, Black Lives, White Lives. Black Lies, White Lies, right? And it's a very good book. It was written back in, I guess, the 70s, 80s. I still have that book. But Gil Noble was one of the few black men that was trusted to bring the message in a palatable way, as black people and brown skinned people and Native Americans and women and transgender and gay people were all getting beat down because of just who they are, marginalized, right? Gil Noble, look that name up, Gil Noble. Mark, maybe you put that in the chat, because that book, Black Lives, White Lives, it changed my life, because I was just so propagandized by all the stuff, the lies that they taught me in school. And so how are you going to bring kids in a classroom and tell them you love them, give them milk and cookies, and then tell them, listen, you didn't have shit to do with history. We did it all. You ain't never done nothing, ain't never going to be nothing, ain't never tried to do nothing. Yeah, you made a few things, inventions, Cotton Gin, Eli Whitney. Yeah, you did Harry Tubman, Escape, Underground Railroad. But what the fuck about everybody else? And I kept saying, I used to almost get kicked out of class because I was very radical, had my red, black, and green pick in my hair all the time, my red, black, and green shirt, my army jacket, because I grew up in the days when Malcolm was hitting it hard. You know, the Black Panthers was hitting it hard. And as a young artist and musician, all the older musicians I hung out with, they were into Huey P. Newton and all of them. They were into that because the music was about that. The music that was coming out, Soul Power, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. The music was radical. So everything was changing at the same time. And those of you that are old enough to remember were basically reliving that, but it's in reverse. It's reverse. So, you know, we've completely lived through one change, and now we're at the end and the beginning of the last cycle of this thing. And what we got to do is, no matter what, don't let nobody hurt you, put their hands on you, but you got to understand, you got to approach these things called conversations and communication from a point of love. Because when you put out love, hopefully you'll get some back. Now, if you don't get it back, keep it moving. I'm sure everybody that went to see the Monks, when I went to see them and, you know, got a little gift from them and everything. Wait, where is it? Over here? Yeah, right there. You can see it hanging right here, this one. Given to me by the Monks. And they gave them to everybody. I wasn't special. And, you know, I didn't know these people from Adam. These are human beings that are walking through the snow and ice. And trust me, it was cold that night. So when I looked at that, and I was like, man, you know, the universe is trying to show us that these men who are not in the spotlight, how they became a global story because they were doing one thing. That's the power of love. Mr. Mark Lee, come on in, man. Let's do this. You want me to bring you in, or you good? You sliding in?
I'm in.
Frozen back there?
I'm in. Can you hear me?
There you are. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Everything's well. I was actually talking to a couple of young ladies that were here that are Duke graduate students and everything like that. So they were actually here because one of them is going to be an engineer and working on those Nero things. So she'll be putting things in that they'll be able to help us with kids and all along those lines. So it was interesting having her and then her friend who is a nursing student over at Duke as well. So it was interesting having both Alex, short for Alexandria, and Tina here and everything like that. Both of them Virginia natives, but they now are going to school at Duke University and are trying to be modern history. You know, history is both for folks that are in the past, like you were talking about Mr. Noble and his weekly show Like It Is, which was co-hosted by Robert Hooks and everything. And I think that's the Robert Hooks whose son went off to become a famous actor.
You talking about Gil Noble?
Mm-hmm.
You talking about Gil Noble?
Yeah, Gil Noble.
Oh, you remember what I'm talking about then? You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I had heard that name before.
And who's the co-host? Robert Hooks?
Robert Hooks.
Yeah, I got to take this off for a minute because my head is getting very, very hot. Y'all can see
and he also had a book. The book that he wrote was actually called Black is the Color of My TV Tube and everything like that. So that's the book that he wrote, was Black is the Color of My TV Tube.
So let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
You were here in the South.
Mm-hmm.
which was probably a lot worse than where I was at in New York, right?
Mhm.
For sure, I know it was because I'm from the South. I have family down in the South. I used to come and visit, and I've been in tin tubs, bathed in the fifth water, and went into the outhouse with the snakes and the spiders and all. Lived in two long houses for a couple of summers where there was no electricity at all. So it was sunlight to sunset, and that was it. So I know about the South, right?
Yeah.
When Jesse Jackson was actually taking, or I don't want to say taking the torch because nobody can take the torch from Martin Luther King. Yes, Mark gets an applause. Yes, he does. I had to give him an applause. When Jesse Jackson takes the "I am somebody" slogan and kind of piggybacks that off of the Southern movement, right? Martin Luther King wasn't really happy about it, but it was almost too late for him to do anything about it. What were your opinions about it?
I mean, Jesse was definitely one of Martin Luther King's disciples, as was Andrew Young, the former mayor of Atlanta, and there were a number of others that were there on that balcony the day that Dr. King was shot and everything along those lines. So I didn't have any problem with him taking over the mantle, because I think he did take over the mantle with the Rainbow Push Coalition and with a number of other things that he was doing. He was actually very much involved with Dr. Farrakhan in the Million Man March and a number of other things as well. And of course, he was very much involved with the whole notion of South Africa and the apartheid struggle. I remember in going to school in the 80s, in the early 80s, that was a big conversation, and Jesse was definitely part of that. And I do remember his two runs for the presidency, whether it was in 84 or 88, and all along those lines. So I do remember those campaigns, and a lot of people were excited by him mobilizing various people that were of different backgrounds together and everything like that. So, and definitely having grown up here, I mean, my dad was involved with the Malcolm X school and everything like that. So I know quite a few people that knew Jesse even personally. He did go to A&T, and that was a star quarterback for them and everything along those lines. So he had some athletic skills in addition to his oratory skills and everything like that. So a lot of people, even to this day, remember him and all along those lines, and he was definitely
that's great, that's cool and everything, but I'm asking, basically, I want to know, did the South see Jesse Jackson as we did in the North? Because remember, we had Shirley Chisholm, and my thing is, again, see, history lies, because it wasn't always as tight as people made it out to be. But Black people were always so afraid to tell the truth, like something bad was going to happen. And then now we come to find out later, the truth will set you free. So what I'm asking is, when Jesse started kind of being the one, right? In New York, it was about 50-50. I'm going to tell you, it wasn't like, oh, Jesse, because see, where we were coming from, we had already seen desegregation. We were already doing things that weren't allowed to be done in the South. So he used to give, and you can look this up, he used to give a different speech for the North than he did for the South. Because in the South and downtrodden places, he would give the speech of, we got to rise up, we got to do all these things. And he basically was coming through the churches. In the North, he used the media, he used the colleges, he went a different route. So what I'm asking you is, were you getting the same Jesse Jackson that we were getting? I don't think
everybody you don't think so, but I think so. I think that everybody was getting the same Jesse Jackson and everything along those lines. Because I mean, we saw him coming to the campuses. I mean, he came to Duke, he came to Central, he came to a number of other places, but he was definitely encouraging people to lead their revolutions and to make changes here in the South. Now, there were some things in the North that were different than the South, so I'm sure he tailored his messages based on who he was speaking to. But I mean, the same can be said about the Dr. King and Malcolm X and everybody else. People,
but see, that was different though, because he didn't start the movement. He just picked it up and finished walking with it. They was actually starting it. That's my point. It's like I
No,
like
but I'm
Jesse.
saying,
Don't
but there
get me
were
wrong.
movements. That,
But don't get me. I like him. I'm not putting him down. What I'm saying is, over the years, like in other words, put it this way: growing up, when Malcolm or Martin was on TV, we was watching, right? When Jesse took the helm, it was like 50-50. We didn't really pay attention because we knew what he was saying, but sometimes, and I saw this for myself, this young black man was trying to talk to him, and I don't have time for you. Another young lady was trying to talk to him, and he told her, he's like, well, you're preaching at me. Like the mentality was different. That's what turned him off to a lot of us up there, because he wasn't coming from a place like Martin Luther King of in complete like, hey, it's okay, cool, whatever. He wasn't talking like, say, Barack would talk to a person. I've seen this personally myself. You can go
well,
back
like I
and
said, I
visit
can't
YouTube.
speak to that. I just know that.
No, listen what I'm saying. You can Google it and you can YouTube it and you can see what I'm talking about. A lot of times, if he was on the go and he was busy, he really wouldn't take the time to listen to the very people that was trying to vote for him. That's why he kept losing.
I don't think
I'm
that's the reason
telling
he
you.
lost, and I'm thinking that's not the Jesse that I
Yo,
saw.
let me tell you, black people were not voting for him. I'm gonna tell you straight up. They were voting for the Democratic person. He didn't have enough oomph and juice to get to be the Democratic nomination because it was Jimmy Carter, and then after that, I forgot who was running after that. Right around the time, and I remember this. Right around the time of Jimmy Carter, my father was voting, and he said, "I like Jesse Jackson." He called him Reverend. He said, "I like Reverend Jackson, but he's not going to collect the masses because his message became too internal, me, and that's what the research shows that Martin Luther King had a problem with, and I can pull it up and read it to you."
Like I said, I'm just telling you what I've talked about the people that were in that generation. I mean, there was people that had problems with Jesse, just like there were people that had problems with the person that founded Kwanzaa and everything. So yeah, there were some people that were thinking that folks had a certain ego trip going on and everything like that. I mean, the same thing can be said about Al Sharpton.
Yo, he was one of them. I love him, but he was one.
And there have been, I mean, similar accusations have been made about folks, including Barack and them and everything like that. But I'm just saying that the Rainbow Coalition is actually, if it hadn't been for the Rainbow Coalition, Barack would never have been elected because it's the same
I
thing.
agree. That was the good part. I'm going to bring that up. We talked about the other part, but I was going to bring up some of the good stuff that he did, which later brought in Al Sharpton, tried to work with Shirley Chisholm. He tried his best because he realized, listen to what you just gave your own answer. He was like, wow, I'm like separating people. I need the Rainbow Coalition because my message ain't getting to everybody, because he literally was only speaking to a certain segment of the population. And as a young black man, a teenager, 16, 17 years old, I was like, this dude ain't even talking to me because he ain't even got the time to listen to what we trying to say.
I mean, that's
You know
one of those.
But he realized Rainbow Coalition, now I got to get everybody because everybody does have a voice. I believe it was ego. And see, coming off Martin Luther King, right? Blood on his shirt. Now, come on. You don't need to wear the blood on the shirt for 2-3 days. Stop. What are you doing? That was a turnoff because you're being a martyr for something that didn't happen to you. That bothered me. As a kid, we were like, dude, take off the shirt. It's bloody. You don't have to walk around with it. We already know Martin Luther King's brains are splattered at the Lorraine Hotel. Why are you still wearing it? You're not Jackie Kennedy. Why are you still wearing it? You know, things like that tell you.
I mean, but at the time that happened, he was a very young man.
It doesn't matter. No. We ain't making excuses. We ain't making excuses for bad behavior on this show.
I'm not making mistakes. I'm just saying, but we grow as individuals. I'm saying,
I don't want to hear it. If I had my dad got killed in my arms, I wouldn't wear the bloody shirt. Period. I wouldn't do it because there's no need to martyr yourself. And that's when a lot of people in King's administration said, this dude is going out for self because he wants the publicity that Martin Luther King had already generated. But King's was genuine. Jesse's wanted to be genuine, and it became genuine. But how he got in there like that, by wearing that shirt for 24 hours, telling everybody, this is the blood of Martin. This is the blood of Martin. Like that, my father was even disgusted by that. My father said, we watching the news. He's like, that's disgusting. He should not be wearing one of the greatest black leaders in history of all time, promoting his death by wearing it on his shirt.
Well, like I said, my folks were actually more on the Malcolm camp than the Martin camp and everything like that. At least Dad was. Everything that's why he
I have both.
University.
I have both.
Along those lines, everything like that. But I'm just saying that I don't remember those conversations. I do remember conversations about assimilationists versus non-assimilationists and everything like that. That was more held.
But see, I'm older than you, though. See, I'm older than you.
Yeah, not that
That's
much older.
why.
I'm 60. I'm 63, about to be 64. You're only a few years older. You're not that much older.
But that makes a difference. If I was 16, you was 10. If I was 12, you was 6. That makes a difference. That makes a
I'm
difference.
saying, but you haven't hit the 70s yet. How old are you?
I'm 68.
You're 68, and I'll be 64. So it was like a 4 or 5 year gap.
Right, but that makes a difference. Trust me, I'm telling you. Think about it. The things you knew at 13, and you had a 12, 11, 10, 9. You had a 9-year-old brother or sister. They ain't going to pay attention to things you pay attention to.
Well, it depends on how you're raised. Like I said, me and Malik have some similar things, even though there's a 7-year gap. But do we have some similar things because we were raised by civil rights parents and everything like that? So there's some similarities that we have. But yeah, there might be some differences. But
okay, I got to bring this in because this is important. What's up, Angie? How you doing, sweetie? I love you. This is really important. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to spark up some debate. So I'm going to start with Cindy's, and I'm going to work these comments down. Cindy K. Lane, I think people were apprehensive to vote for Reverend Jackson and how separation from church and state is crucial to the survival of our democracy. And that makes perfect good sense. Because you're right. Because like he was going in that direction. And at the time, we were definitely against heavy church and state, even though it was creeping in at that time. But you're right. And see, in the black civilization, I mean, not civilization, but in the black communities, the church was the White House. It was the mayor's house. It was the central location. It was set up to help people adopt babies, the Eastern Stars, the Masons, the whole bit. So the church was a community. And at that time,
but the church was also the political power.
Hold on. Let me finish. He got the church behind him, which was a good thing because it gave people hope. Rainbow Coalition, it gave them direction, and it made people, what he did, and I think that's why we got to talk about his legacy, was so powerful because he gave people something else after King got shot. And that's the most, I think that's why God put him down here. Despite what he may did or didn't do, I think his mission was to let people know I'm still standing up here with this beacon, holding it for all the minorities. Come this way. I got to get to Angie's comment. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
She says, yes, you know, she says she can understand how people feel about the shirt. Now me personally, I was always like not so much morbid about things. So I just said, Dad, why is this man still wearing this bloody shirt? And we seeing the assassination pictures, this and that all over. Like, I kept thinking to myself, like, he's making himself part of something where he should kind of step back, regroup, reboot. But he was determined to get in front of the cameras and everything, which in a way was good, but in a way it was a turnoff to white America. Tell you that straight up. Now, let me see this. Yes, he did have aspirations to run for president, and he tried, Alpha. He tried to run for president, but he could never get enough votes in the South to become a nominee. He had DC, he had most of New York, he had some of Philly, he had Jersey, some of Jersey, Maryland maybe. But once you cross the Mason-Dixon line, they wasn't going to vote for our boy. They wasn't going to do it because they killed the guy that was his mentor. So no way was they going to turn around and kill Martin Luther King and then say, hey, we're going to vote for Jesse Jackson. I think if it wasn't for Jesse Jackson, there would have been no Barack Obama. But unfortunately, Jesse Jackson had to pay the price. Kind of like Michael Holmes had nobody to fight when Muhammad Ali retired. Kind of like the wrong time, wrong place thing. See, and when social media came about, right? And by the time Jesse was still trying to help the Al Sharptons of the world and Barack Obamas of the world, he became even more useful to me because then he was like, well, we could all look at Jesse and be like, wow, he's one of the founding fathers of the movement. So now Barack can stand on top of him. That's why I'm not knocking the man. I'm just saying there were certain things that happened back in the day that I saw that just turned me off. I didn't have a vote because back then you couldn't vote till you was 21. Then they loaded it to 18. So I didn't have a vote. But I got to say, I wouldn't have voted for him.
Like
We
I
used
said,
to talk about it in school. We used to make fun of it. And it wasn't even a serious subject because they never talked about it. Our beloved Dr. King was a spiritual sacrifice. Yep. And the blood on that he wore for days on his shirt. We need talk. We do, but see, again, sometimes when you got Malcolm.
Part of what he said he was doing it for, and this was a man that was 26 at the time. He claimed he was doing it at that time, so he was very young at the time that he did it. And we all know that.
Nah. See, but that again. See,
but I'm just saying. But part of the reason he said he did it at 26 was he was claiming that it was symbolism that he was going to continue the movement. So that's the reason he claimed that he wore the bloody shirt and everything. He was seeing it as a form of symbolism that this is showing that I'm going to maintain the movement and continue the movement and everything like that. So he had a reason that he gave the networks of the time, whether that was Walter Cronkite or whatever.
Yeah, he did. You got to remember, you got to think of it in terms, you got to look at it in terms of the whole. Martin Luther King had everybody. When Jesse was doing what he did and tried to be separate from it, it says right here, Martin Luther King really wasn't happy with that because
and I got this Martin Luther King and the SCLC.
That's part of the selfish thing. He went for self because again, I focus back on
what 26-year-old do you know that doesn't go for self and everything like that? That's my point.
Plenty. Look at Jasmine Crockett. She ain't out for self.
No, some people would argue that she is out for self, and she's actually older than that.
Because I tell you why. She's not out for self because she's a minority and she's a woman.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, and she's also older. She's not in her 20s; she's in her 30s, if I remember correctly. So she's also older.
I don't know how old she is. All I know is
she's much older than Jesse was. Jesse was literally just.
All I know is this. I was in high school, and they came to my high school.
You were a few years older than him. I mean, a few years younger.
No, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
I am
right. Listen, I was in high school. There was something called it was the Black Organization for Student Scholarships. It was called BOSS, right? And Jesse was supposed to come to our high school and talk with us in BOSS because he was trying to go around the country and help. And look it up yourself, BOSS, Black Organization for Student Scholarships. And he was trying to go to certain places to talk to young Black people about going to college as opposed to getting shot up in Vietnam. Because if you went to college, you didn't have to go to Vietnam. So what he was doing, he was organizing, but he was organizing in a way that for us as Northerners, it was almost like, well, I don't want to say use because that's not the tainted word, and I'm sure the man wasn't trying to do that. But all I know is I seen him blow off too many students that was trying to talk to him about the real change that we needed as young Black people, and that turned me off. I couldn't vote. I would not have voted for him. I would not have voted for him.
No, and I got it. A lot of people did not want to vote for him for various reasons, and some of those are like the reasons that you're talking about and everything like that. But I'm just saying that he grew and developed like we all do as he got older.
Yes, he did.
Like
yes, he did.
And I'm just saying that what you're talking about is that a young man who literally was fresh out of A&T, and yes, he had been involved in some of the. It does matter. We all grow and develop as we continue to.
But why does it matter? Why does it matter where he came from?
No, but I'm saying we all could. Well, one that's what shaped his. A lot of where we come from is how we are shaped. So he actually was involved in the whole city movement. So he was actually helping those kids in Greensboro at A&T because he was there when that was going on. So you are shaped by what you do. and everything. So it does matter where you come from, because he was actually anti when they had the sit-ins. So that shaped
Yes, but
his.
see, I don't think that shapes how you
No, that totally shaped
decide.
him. That totally shaped his. That totally shaped his viewpoint.
Okay, well, if did it shape his viewpoint to go for self when it's like I am somebody?
I mean, that shaped his development of the "I am somebody" speech. The "I am
Yeah,
somebody"
but
is just
see,
saying we
again,
all
that
are
was for
somebody.
self. That was
That's
for
not the stuff.
self.
The "I am somebody" speech, because he did it for.
The
And I explained it
slogan,
on another show.
the slogan doesn't go for self, but he was using it for self. I'm telling you, I saw it.
And I'm saying that that's what your perception in New York was. That's not the
No, it's not
perception
a
in the South.
perception. It was reality because he wouldn't talk to nobody that kept asking him questions about what we wanted to talk to him about. It was reality.
Zach, I'm just saying that different people have different viewpoints based on as you grow as an adult and everything like that. What he did when he was 26 years old, which is the things that you're talking about with the shirt and everything along those lines. I don't think that that's the same as what he was doing in 1988 when he was running for president, and he was like in his
In
30s or 40s.
1976,
Yeah,
Jesse was supposed to come to my high school and
I got
speak
that.
at the
And
board's
a lot of times we're colored,
organization.
but a lot of
He
times
was
we're colored by our personal experiences. There are people that I don't like because of things that they did with me and everything like that. So
that's not what I'm saying. In other words, this is what happened. There wasn't enough money there for him. I'm gonna just come out and say it.
No, but I'm saying that whole notion. I don't know who was managing Jesse at that time and everything like that. So yes, his managers might have been like, there ain't no money there, don't go there. So that could have been his managers at the time and everything like that. I don't know.
That's my point. That see, you just solidified my point.
But I'm saying I don't know who's managing him at that point. I mean, there are people that I met at the National Black Theater Festival that I didn't like because they came off that way.
I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about Jesse Jackson. You just solidified my point. A lot of black people in New York was like, yo, this dude is just coming for the money.
But I mean, that's what people have been saying about Al Sharpton for years and everything like that.
But we ain't talking about Al Sharpton either.
But I'm just saying.
I'm talking about Jesse. This is Jesse's time.
I'm saying people have different viewpoints based on their reactions to how they handle them and everything like that. That's just general, plain common sense. People have different reactions to different people. There are people that don't like Barack because Barack didn't come right. I know that for a fact here in Durham.
Well, I got a comment. Hold on. Right? He's not going to get up there and say, yes, this is a symbol of a blood sacrifice. Now, who does that? Nobody does that. But my point is, to me, and I thank you for that comment. That's very cool. Martin Luther King, the whole assassination thing, and they're still trying to uncover it, figure it out, right? I just didn't understand, like, nobody else, like John, you said John Young was there, right? The guy that said, hey, good trouble, he was there. A lot of people was around, but I'm trying to figure out as a human being, right? If my father got his head blown off of my arms, I'm changing my shirt out of respect for my father.
I understand that, but I'm saying, and I can only speak for.
But I ain't going to get hung up on that. I'm just saying that was one thing that I didn't like.
But I'm just saying, and I can only claim what he said during those times, which is that he was saying.
Hold on, we got another comment.
The reason he did it was to show that the movement was still living.
And he did. We established that. At the end, Martin Luther King stated that he was integrating his people into a burning house. Shortly after that, he was sacrificed. See, now that's the point. Because Martin Luther King even realized we should have been going for self, keeping our own stuff, our own stores, our own schools, our own
that was the whole thing with the Black Wall Street. But that was not just. But we also have to remember that a lot of this was outside forces destroying it. I mean, that's part of what I talk about at Daytime all the time. Whether it was by a bomb, like in
and you're right,
whether it was a fire in Wilmington, or whether it was
so check this out.
Running through the town.
You're right. You're right, and you're absolutely right. And I appreciate your comments. But see where people from different parts of the United States are seeing this from different points of view. That's why I wanted to stir up this conversation, because I knew it would spark interest, right? And thank you all. Smash the like button, give us a thumbs up. Funk from the Front Seat, Not on the Grind TV. We're in a very, very heated conversation, and we're trying to talk about Jesse. And then I'm definitely gonna get to SCOTUS, because we're gonna go all the way to 2:00 today, or 1:59. Then we can stop. But what is being I think, and I'll read this comment. The worst thing that ever happened to us was labeling us as a minority when we are foundational Black Americans. And you're absolutely right. We're not a minority. That's a word. Again, I talked about this at the top about spelling and things that we say to make us feel oppressed, right? Now, again, I don't think there would have been a Barack without a Jesse. So for me, personally, when Jesse was sitting there with tears in his eyes, when Barack was being sworn in and everything, that was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen, because I felt kind of like, as an empath, Jesse was like, well, wow, I couldn't get it off, but Barack got it off. See what I'm saying? So he got a chance to live and see that. And yes, I give Jesse all the props in the world. I just think that he made crucial mistakes along the way if he wanted to win. And the object was to try to get on the Democratic ticket to win. It wasn't to bring people along. He wanted to be the president, and he went about it the wrong way. That's what I'm saying. And I know he went about it the wrong way, because all of us said if we do get a vote, or they change the law to 18, which I think they did 2 years after I graduated high school, then he gave us nothing to vote for. That's why Al Sharpton, with all of his antics and what he does, I like the man. I met Al Sharpton at a P-Funk concert, was talking to him, standing right next to him. But a lot of these things happen for the money. We know the white men that run this country have always been about this, right? We already know that. So that's been established. But see, when a Black person gets an opportunity to be in the big seat and take control and take charge, yes, there's certain things they got to do. But in 1976, the Rainbow Coalition did not include me. I was not included into it, because it was only for people in church, and only for people that were gay, and only for people that went with what Jesse was saying. It didn't have very few. If you notice, Stevie Wonder endorsed him. I think maybe a few others endorsed him, but not a lot of musicians came out to endorse Jesse, because in my opinion, like I said, he wasn't speaking to everybody. And I hated the fact that I got to even come on the show and say that, because I read the history and I reread it last night about a lot of things, right? And I think that, hold on. Let me get this up, because this was important too. And I think that, the reason I'm so fired up about it is because I still see the bloody image of the shirt in my head, and that's a me problem. So I'm gonna let that go, because I just think that it bothered me, and it bothered my dad, and anything that bothered my dad, I wasn't really down with. Thank you, Angie, for this comment. I'm definitely going to read it like this. The I Am Somebody speech, it was for little Black children and Black people. When Jesse said it was for the individual to tell self, I am somebody, I remember that with that speech, I saw a change in this one boy in my class. He was bad to the bone. But after that speech, he really changed. It made me feel good. Even though I was told this was I was told this every day by my parents. And you're absolutely right. It did change people. It was for little boys and little girls, because he saw the Black community was crumbling. And I'll give you all of that. Believe me, that's a fact. And I never disputed that at all. I think that was probably one of the best things that he ever put out there, because he kind of like, well, James Brown said a lot on Black and I'm Proud. And, he basically was telling people, you are somebody, even though they're telling you you're not, and that's important. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for Jesse Jackson, but again, being the radical that I am, and being from seeing other things that this world has done, I see life a lot differently than most. Not better or worse, just different. Because I was upset that they didn't even put the flags at half mast for this man this week.
No, they won't. They won't let them lay and rest in the rotunda. They turned it down.
Well,
So
that's
they
my
come in,
point. Like, how you going to treat a man? How you going to treat a man that's so important to everybody, that like this?
I mean,
Feel
part
me?
of that is because of who's in power and what their attitude is.
Well,
toward
that's
Black
my
folks.
point. That's what I'm saying. It's like, we know the evils and stuff that's being done, but my thing is, why aren't more people upset like me that the flag ain't at half mast?
No, a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are upset that he's not at the rotunda. I
Who
just
are
told you
they?
that.
Who are they?
I mean, I can name folks that are writing
No, I'm
letters
talking
and
about nationally, reporters, not you and
nationally.
me.
No, but I've seen that. How do you think I found out that it wasn't at the rotunda? Because it was a nationally reported story.
All I had to do is go to the post office and look at the flag.
Well, I got that, but I'm just saying. But the rotunda is because there's only been, I think they gave some BS reason for not doing it. But Billy Graham was in the rotunda, and there was another famous. Oh, Rosa Parks was in the rotunda. So definitely there have been times that because they said that it's only like I guess for presidents and others, but there have been other times because I know that they had the body of Billy Graham in the rotunda, and they had the evangelist, and they had the body of Rosa Parks. So if they can't say that that hasn't been done in the past because it has been done in the past.
Well, again, like I said, I'm not knocking the man. I love the man. Again, it goes down to that word love. I'm just telling you his impression of what he left on us as teenagers in New York. Because
Yeah, and
again,
I'm just saying, but that wasn't the same here because he was engaged
that's
with
my original question. That's
then
why I
that's it.
asked
But
you,
he was
how
engaged
was
with
it?
teenagers here in the South, so he was part
Yes,
of the civil rights. He was part of the Woolworths
right.
activity.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
he was part of what was going on. So I can't speak to what y'all were going through in the North and y'all's attitude, but I know in the South he was revered and everything along those lines because of him having been involved, including in churches. I mean, the Hayti was a church, so he would have probably been in some of these buildings like the Hayti or White Rock when it was up the road and around the corner from me and everything. Because Dr. King did his fill up the jail speech here,
All
so
I know is
definitely.
he left. All I know is this: he would have had me had he not left the auditorium full of seniors sitting there with the boss panel on the stage waiting for Jesse Jackson, and then the message comes through, he ain't coming. Then we was all like, F this dude.
Right, and like you said, and different people have different attitudes based on their personal opinions. But what happened to
Yeah,
them, I
that's
told
right.
you
It was an experience, bro. Because we were all excited. We had the buttons, we had everything. We were so excited to meet this guy because none of us never met Martin Luther King. So we were so excited to meet him. And if they would have gave me a mic and I would have asked a question, I would have been like, "Why are you wearing that shirt?
right,
Why did
I
you wear
got
that
that.
shirt like that?"
I got you. And he
That
probably
would
would
have
have
been
given
me.
you, and he
I
would
was
have given you
radical like that.
he would have given you the answer that I just said that he gave to other folks and everything, which is that he was using the blood as a symbolism that the struggle was continuing, despite the fact that the man had been martyred and everything. So basically, it was that notion that just because you kill one doesn't stop the movement. Is
I
what
don't know about that, but
is what his
I'll take
answer
your
was.
word for it. I'll take your word for it.
I'm
And
just
those
saying
that are
that's what his
watching,
answer
thank you for
was.
coming in because I wanted to heat it up today. I needed some action. I needed some fire. So I wanted to heat it up today because I'm
But that's
telling
what
you, I was upset when they didn't talk about it more. They did their little normal thing, but I was like, yo, people don't even realize what this man was all about. And if we're going to tell the story, let's tell the whole story, not his story, not
right.
history. That's my thing. I'm all for truth, love, and harmony and peace. Let's get all the stuff out. Same with the Epstein files. Let's get it out. If we're going to tell it, we already know the dirty prostitutes and high price prostitutions, the athletes, the musicians. We already know. So let's just get it out. They seem to know
I
everything
mean,
about us.
but I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, that's what COINTELPRO was. There's a lot of stuff that they will never reveal because it would upset the apple cart and it would destroy the machinery that they have in place and everything.
Well, I'm
like
ready
that.
to destroy it and upset the apple cart. In my opinion, fuck the apple cart. I'm ready to tip that shit over.
Well, the cart should be tipped over. It needs to be tipped over. And it needs to be changed.
I'm ready to tip it over, bro.
But you got too many folks that are.
Because you know what I'm sick of? You know what I'm tired of? You know what I'm tired of?
What's that?
I can tell you what I'm tired of in one word. Guess what it is? You're already going to know. Guess what it is? Huh?
What, bullshit?
Talk.
Yeah, well, same thing.
Talk.
Bullshit talk.
I'm tired of talk. I'm tired of talking myself, and I'm tired of talking. I'm damn near tired of singing about this shit. Yo, check this out for my audience. I'm glad y'all came in with those different opinions because I wanted to light this shit up today, and we definitely did. And I appreciate everybody's love and opinion because everybody's opinion is important, and everybody's opinion is from where they're coming from, and that's very important on this show. So I appreciate all of that, but I'm just telling you my opinion because it's my show, so I get a chance to do that. Y'all check this out, man. Hang tough.
Jesse Jackson, you don't understand my situation. You'll be on television. You don't understand. I see you with the big people. You don't understand my situation. I understand. You see me on TV, but you don't know the me that makes me me. They wonder why does Jesse run? Because they see me running for the White House. They don't see the house I'm running from. I have a story. I wasn't always on television. Writers were not always outside my door. When I was born late one afternoon, October 8th, in Greenville, South Carolina, no writers asked my mother her name. Nobody chose to write down our address. A mama was not supposed to make it, and I was not supposed to make it. You see, I was born a teenage mother who was born a teenage mother. I understand. I know abandonment and people being mean to you and saying you're nothing and nobody and can never be anything. I understand. Jesse Jackson is my third name. I'm adopted. When I had no name, my grandmother gave me her name. My name was Jesse Burns till I was 12. So I wouldn't have a blank space. She gave me a name to hold me over. I understand when nobody knows your name. I understand when you have no name. I understand. I wasn't born in the hospital. Mama didn't have insurance. I was born in the bed at house. I really do understand. Born in a 3-room house, bathroom in the backyard, slop job by the bed, no hot and cold running water. I understand. Wallpaper used for decoration? No, for a windbreaker. I understand. I'm a working person's person. That's why I understand you, whether you're black or white. I understand work. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had a shovel programmed for my hand. My mother, a working woman. Some of the days she went to work early, with runs in her stockings. She knew better, but she rolled runs in her stockings so that my brother and I could have matching socks and not be laughed at school. I understand. At 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, we couldn't eat turkey because Mama was preparing somebody else's turkey at 3 o'clock. We had to play football to entertain ourselves. And then around 6 o'clock, she would get off the Alta Vista bus and we would bring up the leftovers and eat our turkey, leftovers, the caucus, the cranberries, around 8 o'clock at night. I really do understand. Every one of these funny labels they put on you, those of you who are watching this broadcast tonight in the projects, on the corners, I understand. Call you outcast, low down, you can't make it, you're nothing, you're from nobody, subclass, underclass. When you see Jesse Jackson, when my name goes in nomination, your name goes in nomination. I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And it wasn't born in you, and you can make it. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Don't you surrender. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. You must not surrender. You may or may not get there, but just know that you're qualified and you hold on and hold out. We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. On tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much. And
That was very powerful.
Yeah, that was very powerful. That's
Kudos.
what I
That was,
remember.
and that was the Rainbow Coalition. All kinds of people there. I dug that. And see, I remember, what year was that?
I think that was 84.
Yeah, I remember. See, during the 80s, we was in the Reagan era. So unfortunately, there was no way they was going to let Jesse even get a sniff at the nomination. And that's the sad part. Because I do
Mhm.
believe when he was in the White House, he did good. I do believe when he talked to presidents and went to rallies and things, I do believe he was out there fighting like he should have fought.
Yeah,
But
and the two times he ran, that was the first wave of conservatism, kind of like what Trump is in the third or
yeah,
fourth wave and everything like that. So I don't know that. Well, I agree that he was the reason that we got an Obama, but I don't know that that would have been the right time for Jesse to get in the office. So, and that's what I was
it
trying
was
to make
tricky,
that
right?
point
It would have been
like that
tricky.
because it was a different era. That was the era around the time of Reagan, and it was super conservative
Right,
in the country and everything like that. That was the time of Jerry Falwell. That was the time of a lot of
right.
very conservative religious leaders, even.
Right. That's why and you're right. And see, that's why I say whoever was on his squad made a critical error. Not him, but his team around him. Because what they should have realized is this. Listen, these kids coming out of high school at 17, 18 years old are going to be ready to vote in the next election. So you need to go after them. That's how Barack got in because he realized, yo, the old people going to vote how they're going to vote. I got to go after the youth. And what we kept trying to understand, first of all, we was all upset Jesse blew off our high school. But second of all, we was trying to figure out, well, he's not really talking. He's talking about the slum and the ghetto, but we ain't really that. And then he's talking about his journey, and that lifts us up from a black man in a position of power point of view, and we love that. But he really didn't get down to the nuts and bolts of what he was going to actually try to do besides just give us all this lifeboat that we needed. So we all got
I
in a
mean,
lifeboat. It was great. It was great. We all got in it. But see, we didn't have he didn't think about us being eligible to vote. So when it was
I don't
time
know
to vote,
I don't know that
I'm gonna tell
Jesse
you how
ever had
Reagan
it.
got in. I'm gonna tell you how Reagan got in because none of us voted.
No, and I'm not, and I will agree with you that either he or Dukakis, I don't know that they necessarily had a agenda. I mean, that's what we talk about now is a plan and everything like that. And I don't remember a plan in terms of like Obama had a plan for some of the things he's going to do, like healthcare and some of the other things. So I don't remember Jesse giving a true plan, and I'd have to go back and see what his platform was because I don't remember his platform. I just remember his speeches and everything. But the other thing I was going to say earlier is that a lot of the folks like Jesse came out of the church background. So I know what that other reader, listener of yours was saying about the separation of church and state, but not in our community. Because like I said, at the time that the Hayti was St. Joseph, and at the time that White Rock was around the corner from here, and everything actually was like literally maybe about 100 feet away from here.
And that,
At the
Angie,
time
just
that
so you
St.
know,
Mark
that
was
was
here, a lot of the
hold on.
people were doing their meeting and their strategizing in the church, but not
I
doing
got you. I
church
got you. But
hours.
I just got to tell Angie something. That was me that tapped that comment in because that was one of the greatest speeches I ever saw him. Because Mark ain't watching the comments. So, but that was me, not Mark. I got to get credit where credit is due.
Yeah, but
Hold on. Got another
I'm the
comment.
one to pick
Hold
the
on.
speech.
Hold on. The change, Angela, the change Jesse made in the boy in your class is amazing.
Mhm.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's
See,
real
that's
cool.
why this show is so good because we get to spark conversations up about things that everybody can relate to. Because the reason why I brought up all of this stuff is because we reliving it. That's why I don't like it.
No,
And
we
I'm telling
definitely
you,
live in it. But I'm
just
just saying,
like just like this dude was selling shot glasses and a piece of his ear, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like people that to me want to be martyrs are extremely, I guess, of importance to themselves, but the average person doesn't care about that. The average person cares about, can I go out in safety? Can I buy food? Can I have a good job? Can I take care of my family? And can I enjoy myself in life and relax and retire? It's not really that complicated.
No, it's
You
not that
know,
complicated, but part of it, I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole martyr conversation because people choose to be martyrs for different reasons, for whatever their reasons may be. But the other thing with the whole economic thing is that a lot of the figures are manipulated. Because if you hear, and I'm sure we're going to hear this on Tuesday, he's going to make it seem like the economy is wonderful and he will have some statistics that can back him. But you and I know that if you go to the grocery store, it's still hard to get basic.
that's why I'm watching Midas Touch. You funny too, Angie. That's why I'm watching Midas Touch Network. I'm trying to actually get Ben on here. I emailed him. He emailed me back. They're busy, but I'm gonna get the dude for my. And I watch BBC News too. But see, again, we already know all this stuff. And like you said, Mark, you're one of the most intelligent people I ever met on this planet. So I give you your kudos for knowing history and especially Black history. You know much more than I do. You know, but I think today, when I thought about Jesse Jackson, two things stuck out, and we already covered one. The other was I wanted that flag lowered. And I even asked the guy in the post office, how come the flag, because I got a post office box, I asked him, how come the flag isn't lowered for Jesse Jackson? And he said, because the government won't allow it. It's a government bill.
Right. It's a government decision because Johnson, the head of the House, is the one that turned it down because the family approached him about.
We got. Though that's coming from a place of love. Like, how do you not love this man no matter what he didn't do or did do, and he did so much for the country at the time. But again, what bothers me as a Black man and Black Americans, we forget like what people have done in the struggle. We forget, and we have to constantly remind ourselves that they're taking away our history. They're taking it, erasing it. They're like, no, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. Take that picture down, tear that down. They're taking it away. And you mark my words, all my non-white brothers and sisters, sooner or later, they're going to start taking away your history too.
I mean, they're already doing that to some degree. I mean, I had a guest
That's
on
what I'm
my
saying. That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, they're starting to do that not just with Black history, but with the Latin history and other histories as well, and everything. So, I mean, and there was a recent ruling. I think it was in Philadelphia that he had to put up the slave exhibit because the judges are not necessarily, including some judges he appointed, agreeing with him because they even said that thing about the tariffs as well and everything. So they're not always agreeing as much as he thought they were going to agree because they see the injustice as well.
So we all know what happened in the ruling, right? We all know. And I'm going to try to get this on the screen so y'all can see it.
Did you see the other quote from about Obama?
Which one?
It was from Alpha.
Nah, what was it?
I'll bring it up. It was just about the 1%. The 1% that runs the country would never let Jesse Jackson be president. Obama is on all truths, did nothing for foundational Black Americans. They give the inclusion. They give the illusion of inclusion. Because that was my thing that a lot of people
Thank you. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's the real truth.
That's the thing.
Thank
that's
you.
the thing. Even with Obama, is that Obama came from the world of organizing to some degree and everything, and he. While he did a lot in office and everything, he also was known as the deporter in chief because he actually deported as many people, if not more, than Trump did and everything like that. So he did some things that were not that great, and definitely part of that was that he had to do it in order to play the game because he was playing the game also.
Well, yeah, I mean, and see, that's cool. And thank you for that comment because see that's what I'm talking about. Because somebody said, years ago, they said don't matter who the president is, the hood is still the hood, rich people are still rich, poor people are still poor. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get this up on the screen, Mark. Hold on a second here. Oh, it's right there. Sorry, I didn't see it. So, and thank you for that comment because again, that's kind of like